Okay, so I'm happy that each one of you could join us this evening for our Success Saturday. And we're continuing looking at how we can design our own financial future towards building sustainable financial security. We are living in a new era of a digital world, and we're going to be looking at how we can thrive financially in this new digital era that we're in. Um, Not long ago, someone was saying that I was listening to an interview with an Uber driver, and someone was asking him about um, these autonomous vehicles that they have now and what he thought his future as an Uber driver was going to be. And he said, I don't think that these self driving cars would ever be able to completely take over. And it was not long ago that Suzanne and I were in Austin, Texas, and we were seeing cars driving around, Ubers and other driving around without any driver at the wheel. And so you can call up an Uber, it will show up at your door and there is no driver. So we're in the age of AI technology where recently on an interview, I heard another person saying that AI is not going to eliminate jobs, it's going to create more jobs. And this week, Newsweek magazine had an article that said all the major tech giants in 2026 are going to be replacing tens of thousands of jobs with AI. That's tens of thousands of people that now need to find a way to survive for them and their families. I'm saying all that to say that the digital reality that we are living in is one where our world is changing dramatically, it's changing very rapidly. And when it comes to finances, it is no different. I am not here to um, encourage you to join a business, to join something that you have to work at over time, like a side hustle, extra income. What I'm really here to do this evening is to introduce you to a new way of participating in the economy. This new way of participation in the economy is one that will be able to build a sustainable financial future for us. It is one that is very uncommon, even though this future is being built and by technology right under our noses. The reality is that the average person, we don't recognize what's happening. And so I want to introduce you to a new way participating in the economy that will change our financial future. What I'm going to be sharing with us, let it be known that I am not a financial advisor. I'm not giving that advice, nor am I giving any investment recommendations, because we will be talking about the potential of what this participation can mean for us. So let's get right into it. And for us to understand this new way of participation within the economy, we need to begin by being familiar with the economy that we're all a part of. So, we're going to look at three economic realities that shape our financial future. The first one is what we call a centralized economy, where income is based primarily on participation. If we don't participate in the economy, if we don't bring what we have to give to the economy, then there is no income for us. This is where we trade our value and labor for money. This is where we get caught up into the routine cycles of day-to-day existence. And some people call it a treadmill lifestyle. We feel like we're doing and doing and doing and not really getting ahead. In this economy, value concentrates upwards as we all participate in the economy and bring our value by our expertise and so on in. The value circulates and it concentrates upward to those that own the systems, those that own the assets, or those that own the infrastructure. Income is limited based on the system that we are working within because it dictates how we will participate. In this economic environment, financial security is very fragile because it's temporary. Temporary meaning that if for some reason we are unable to participate, then our income will stop. And one of the biggest detriments of this economic environment is that it instills a cultural mindset of scarcity. And that is something that many people struggle to overcome. And so, in this economy, you work for money and financial freedom is out of reach. This is the majority of us that live within a centralized economy. Now, within this economy, there's a small section of people, maybe 5% of the economy, that experiences a different economy. We call that a sovereign economy. And this is where income is accessed through ownership. This is where those people, they own assets, they own systems, and they own infrastructure that generate value. And their income increase without having to put out any effort because what they own is what's producing the income. So, just to give some context to that, if you think about, say, the water system of your city or the location where you live, someone may own the dam or the river where the water supply is, and you can think of that as the money, and it flows from that supply. Someone may own the plumbing system through which the water flow. That's infrastructure. And someone may own the faucet that you have to turn on to let the water through. That's an asset. So different people may own different things, but the money flows from the dam through the infrastructure. And every time you turn on the pipe, you release some money. That could also be thought about. That's how we participate. We go to work, we turn on the pipe, we go home, we turn off the pipe, and we just get what comes through the pipe based on what the system says. But those that own the asset and own the infrastructure, the money is always available because they own what's producing it. And so ownership removes the limitation to earn. And this is where wealth can accumulate over time. When we own assets and systems and infrastructure, this is where we now can access freedom of time, freedom of money, and our potential becomes greater. What I want to say here is that the world we are living in, we are in this digital era where systems can be uh, configured or systems can be set up that can produce income without effort. And a good example is looking at Netflix. Netflix is a digital system that a company has set up where people can access their accounts from anywhere in the world. They can watch movies as they travel around. There are over 300 million people that have Netflix accounts. And the most basic account is a $10 monthly subscription. Now, every month, a card is charged for $10 and over 300 million. So every month, Netflix receives $3 billion, which is unbelievable. $3 billion every month comes in, and it's all automated. Automated meaning they've set a system in place. It requires no input, no human input to run the system because it's all digitally automated. But $3 billion just flows every month just through a system that was set up. Now, this digital economy that we're in is extending that to even go beyond systems like that. One of the things I want to point out before I get to the final economy, which is where we need to get to, is that there is a big gap between the sovereign and centralized economy, a big gap of inequality. This, these two represent what they call a zero-sum game. For someone to win, someone has to lose. And this big gap of financial inequality exists. But emerging out of these two economies is a third economy, which we call an ecosystem economy. This is where technology unites participation and ownership into a unified system. This is a structure that is being built right under our noses, right across the globe, and many people are not aware of it. This system is built on ownership, it is scaled by technology, and is sustained our through global participation. We can think of it as a global ecosystem. Like any ecosystem, everything within the system functions in unity and in harmony. Within an ecosystem economy, participation creates value, and value circulates throughout the whole system, different to decentralized economy where value concentrates to the top. It flows upward. Because an ecosystem economy is a decentralized environment, the value that flows in through participation, it circulates throughout. And technology automates continuous income flow. Now, I just told you about you can see continuous income flow from a system like Netflix. But in this new ecosystem economy, we can own assets, we own systems, we own infrastructure, and not only are there assets of value that generate value, but they also produce income continuously in a very similar manner. This is something that's available to people all over the world, and they're just not familiar with it. Different to the previous two economies, our ecosystem economy is one that is open, where there is financial inclusion that drives the growth of the economy. Whereas in the previous two, there are a lot of unbanked people that cannot participate in financial systems. And so you're looking at a system where everyone who participates is an owner of assets, systems, and infrastructure. There's no one within this economy that does not own value because technology is uniting the participation and the ownership. This is very unique. In this ecosystem, we move from you working for money, money working for you, to where money flows to you. This is so uncommon that the average person will find it difficult to wrap their minds around a system, an economic environment where all who participate in it, and it's open for anyone and accessible to anyone to participate in this economy, and everyone succeeds financially. There are no losers in it financially. How is that possible? How would such a system work? Now, everyone is guaranteed to be able to succeed financially, and it's because it's all ownership based. Now, I'm going to open that out so that we can understand how it works. This is what is called shared prosperity. My prosperity is linked to your prosperity, and your prosperity is linked to my prosperity. It is a model that is so remarkable that everyone succeeds because everyone is succeeding. Did you hear that? Everyone succeeds because everyone is succeeding. That is how unified the system is. Now, why would this work? It would work because it's built on laws. And as I get to those laws, please remember this statement at the bottom. Designing your financial future means owning the source of your income. If we don't own the source of where our income comes from, then we don't have the autonomy to decide what our future is going to be financially. That's why we all need to get to an ecosystem economy where we own the source of where our income is coming from. Now, let me explain to you why this works. It works because it is built on the five economic laws of sustainable wealth. These are immutable laws, are as immutable as gravity is, and they pertain to every economic system and environment. And the first law is value must be created, and that happens through participation within this ecosystem. And because it is built on ownership, which is law number two, is that you have to own where the value is coming from. And it's important to own it because you have to have the say in how it is to grow. how it's supposed to multiply. You are the one that must have that autonomy. That takes you into law number three, which is where the system has tools and um, access to resources that can leverage that value where it can actually multiply without increased effort. Leverage is the ability to scale and increase without increasing effort. And the system has tools to be able to do that. Once it starts increasing and it starts scaling, it overflows into law number four, where it begins to compound and accelerate in growth. And that naturally flows to the last law of stewardship, where all that was increased is allocated and distributed right back to the participants that brought the value in the first place. I hope we can catch the depth of what I'm saying. So when the increased value flows all the way back to the beginning and it starts to cycle, it continues a loop of increase. So sustainable wealth, not just wealth, but wealth that is sustainable. It is a flow of value that is secured through ownership, expanded through leverage, accelerated through compounding, and it's preserved through stewardship. This is a self sustaining loop that is built on immutable laws. That once these laws fit into any system, one thing will happen. You're going to build sustainable wealth. And this is the ecosystem that I'm going to be sharing with you, the ecosystem economic model. Now, let me explain to you, this digital world, that what's making this possible. Digital finance is reshaping the landscape of the global economy. And when we say digital finance, someone said to me yesterday, we are already in a digital financial age. Every finance is digital. Yes, that may be so. But when I say digital finance, I'm talking about crossing over a threshold where the world has reached, which is how technology is being used to create, move, manage, and increase money, which is faster, more connected, and more accessible. Money is being created in a very different way and is moving across the globe in a very different way today. So we are living in a digital world that is reshaping the entire global landscape. This is not just about monetary policies changing. This is a civilizational shift that is going to redefine how the human being is going to interact when it comes to the world of money and finances. And there are five dimensions that are driving this evolutionary change. First, there is governance. There is new legislation for cryptocurrencies, which is digital finance, digital money. And from last year, from when the Genius Act was signed, and now even up to today, the Clarity Act, these are federal laws that were put in place, now making cryptocurrencies legal tender. Recently, an article came out in a magazine in Europe that says that all the banks across Europe are now all in on cryptocurrencies. You can now pay down for your house here in the United States using cryptocurrencies. And as the first of this month, sorry, the first of April last month, all banks in the United States can now custody digital assets and cryptocurrencies. So what I'm saying is that I'm not talking about something that is coming, something that is being thought of or contemplated. This is the world that we are in now. And we've now just crossed a new threshold where it's going to unfold it's going to reshape the future of things. Now, the technology that's driving this is blockchain technology, which is the technology moving the internet from Web 2 to Web 3. Blockchain is what enables decentralized ownership. It is the new layer of value that is reshaping how the internet will function, and it is reshaping the entire world of commerce today. Not just finance is going on to blockchain, but every sector of the social spectrum is now migrating to blockchain. And because of this, a decentralized environment is where DeFi or decentralized finance comes in. This is where financial inclusion becomes more accessible. Around the world today, one of the number one things that's on the list of the global banking world is how to reach the unbanked. And so, because of this new evolution that we're going through, financial inclusion is now dissolving where people can now become more included. This shift is also taking us where we can have more access what is being called fractional ownership of real world assets. It's a concept called tokenization, which if you're not familiar with, I would encourage you to look up that. But because of these technological shifts in this digital age, it now has created people empowered communities. This is a place that we have never gotten to before in the world. So, what it means is becoming communities are now empowered to be able to access resources, tools, and finances that we never had access to before. And I want us to see it this way. It is actually shaping, this represents the greatest transfer of wealth in history. And when I say the greatest transfer of wealth, it is not those that are at the top, the wealthy passing over money or sharing their wealth. That's not it. It is those that have access to the well where all the wealth is, where we get trickles through the river. We now have access to the same resources. We now have access to the same sources. The playing field is now leveled because of where technology has now brought the world. And so, what this means for us is that anyone can own valuable assets without needing large capital. Open access to owning infrastructure and systems is now available to us. Assets like what? Gold, silver, oil, stocks, bonds, real estate. Without having large capital, anyone now have access to owning such things. What it means is that we can now access passive income on a daily basis in perpetuity. Income that would flow to us, very similar to Netflix. We can now own infrastructure and systems where income flows to us without effort because we have ownership of systems. But, ladies and gentlemen, more than that is that we get to decide how much that income could actually be. We get to determine how much of it we want and how sustainable we want it to last. And I'm saying this for us to understand that never in the history of the world has mankind ever had this level of autonomy where we have this kind of control over our finances. Now, these are things that are taking shape globally right now, and the average person is not aware of it. But I'm going to bring it home to you and I to how these benefits are actually accessible. How could you and I access these benefits? They become accessible where we can actually own the value that creates our financial future through a company that is leading the way in shaping the future of digital finance. It's a company called Metaterra. Metaterra is a name that's going to become synonymous with this industry as we evolve in the years ahead. Metaterra is a holding company which forms the umbrella for more than 20 companies around the world. One of those companies is a company called Bellator. Bellator is the fintech agency for Metaterra, and Bellator is the fintech or the financial technology gateway to the Miracle ecosystem. The Miracle ecosystem embraces all of the benefits that I just showed you in the previous slide Miracle ecosystem embraces all five dimensions and all the benefits. And what is it is a connected infrastructure that bridges the worlds of traditional finance and decentralized finance into one model. That's important. Now, what you need to know is who's this company? What's this company about? How credible is this company? How reliable? How trustworthy? How strong is this company that I can actually bet my financial future on that they will be here for the long haul? How sustainable is this company? So let me just tell you a little bit about the company. Anything that is going to last and have longevity, it must have a strong foundation. And Metaterra Holdings Inc., we are built on a strong foundation of corporate accountability. We have one of the strongest foundations an enterprise can have as a publicly traded NASDAQ listed company. Why? Because the regulatory scrutiny that a publicly traded company must undergo and how it must be transparent to the governing authorities and steadily and continuously compliant. And so, can we be trusted? Well, to be a publicly traded company, you have to be an open book with nothing hidden under the hood. So, the role of Metaterra is corporate governance and strategic oversight of all the companies under its umbrella responsible for their global growth. We have a global footprint of offices in 13 countries, and we just opened a new office in Africa. We are the only crypto enterprise that have physical stores where you can walk into and you can use your phone to transfer your digital currencies over the counter and receive cash, or take cash in and receive digital currencies onto your digital wallet. We have three locations in European cities: Amsterdam, Berlin, and Luxembourg. And we're going to be launching our first crypto store here in the United States in June, and that's going to be in New York. Now, this is as solid a foundation as you can get with a company that is very open, credible, compliant, and trustworthy. But who it is that's driving this company, because you need to know that they're also credible, and under law, the executive branch must themselves be scrutinized by the regulatory bodies and authorities to make sure that they're also compliant. Now, we are led by a world renowned group of executive leaders, starting with Hakan Turhan, who is the visionary who back in 2017 saw that a time will come when the world was going to start to regulate digital currencies, and it will need to transition into a new world of finance. And he began to build something, Miracle Technologies, which to where it is today. Along the way, he was joined by Mr. Micah Thierd, whose expertise is in financial technology education and global expansion. Together, they have been building Miracle Technologies, and what they put together attracted the attention of Mr. Douglas Anderson, who is the CEO of Wall Street Capital Partners. He has what that is one of the leading private investment firms on Wall Street. He's an icon on Wall Street. When he saw what Miracle Technologies was doing, and he saw the future of where finance was going, he didn't just want to employ their services. He has partnered with his company, has partnered with us. He brought with him Mr. Stephen Norris. Mr. Stephen Norris is the co-founder of the Carlyle Group, which is one of the largest asset management private equity companies in the world. He's also the founder of Cedar Capital. He is also an icon on Wall Street and in the investment world and in the banking world with all that he's accomplished Many between these two Wall Street giants here, what they have accomplished in their decades uh, in the field, they have brought many of the global giants that we know today to where they are. They're also joined by Mr. Russ Gerson. He's the founder of the Gerson Group. He is the guy that the companies call in when they are consolidating and bringing mergers together. He is the used to be the vice chairman of one of the largest banking institutions here in America, Citigroup. These are the people that are leading our ship, and they are supported by a world-class advisory board with people like Stephen Moore, who is one of the leading economists in the United States and the world. His area is economic policies in the global markets. He's the caliber of individual that was the leading economic advisor in the first Trump administration. He was also appointed to chair the Federal Reserve, which he declined. People like John Bear, who is a digital technology pioneer. He is the individual that was at the beginning of cell phone technology. He's the individual that founded Widevine and started to build the technology, which was then acquired by Google, and it still forms part of Google's core infrastructure. He's also the architect of streaming technology, which Netflix uses, and he has set the global standard. These are people that are steeped in expertise in their area. Monica Profit, she is an expert in sustainable finance. She wrote the book Blockchain 101, book that talks about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, tokenomics. She's an educator at MIT, Princeton, and major Ivy League universities. Fernando Vildasola, he's a cross-border trade expert. He has built very large $60 billion company that's actually traded on the stock exchange. And we have Mr. Paul Randall, the world's leading credit regulatory authority in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, are we built on a solid foundation? Absolutely. Do we have a strong leadership body with us behind which are other layers of the president, the vice president, our legal team, and our engineers? We have a company that is very, very solid. This is not a group of enthusiastic entrepreneurs and billionaires that are trying to start something. These are men that are veterans in their field, and this is who is steering our ship that we have. They have built what we call the architecture of value. And I want you to connect the dots as we move along now to see where you're going to fit in and how our participation actually happens. The architecture of value is a revenue sharing economic environment where participation, ownership, and enterprise come together, creating value that circulates continuously. This is the model of our miracle ecosystem. It is a group of global companies interconnected across platforms by our blockchain infrastructure. And it includes AI, payments, digital assets, and financial tools into one unified system. Each one of these sectors represents a company and is all interconnected into one ecosystem. That's important because it's the first of its kind model to exist in the world. It is a global decentralized digital economy of banking and commerce services. We are the only crypto blockchain infrastructure in the world that has its own core banking switch. That's important because if you're talking about finance on a global scale, as we are speaking about, how value flows through this ecosystem and how it is coordinated, it's through this banking switch. The only institutions that carry core banking system are tier one banking institutions like central banks. The core banking switch, it is a central transaction routing engine that directs the flow of value and transactions between this entire system. We are in the whole world of crypto and blockchain. This does not exist anywhere but with Metaterra through Bellator and the infrastructure of Miracle Technologies. Now, take one step further. I want you to imagine income passively flowing to you from all the financial services throughout this entire ecosystem. Stop for a minute and think. Because this is an ownership based ecosystem, and of course, the first question is how does that pertain to me and to you? And we'll get to that in a minute. This is an ownership based ecosystem. That means assets, systems, and infrastructure of this entire system, it's owned by those who are participating in it. So imagine income that's passively, meaning that you're not doing anything for it, it's passively flowing to you from all sectors of this digital economy. Like what? Banking services, using your credit or debit cards and other financial services. People are doing that all over the world. Imagine that people around the world that's using our services to do that. Imagine payments, normal day to day transactions for goods and services in store or online that's happening all over the world. And you are actually receiving passive income for every transaction, every time a card is used, every time a purchase is made. What about lending, mortgages for homes, loans for vehicles, furnishings for your homes, loans for vacations? Every time money is lent within our ecosystem, we have a large gaming platform with very popular games on it. Every time a game is played, what about enterprise, on chain migration of businesses? The world is migrating to blockchain every time a business does that. What about trading in the financial markets? Every time a trade is placed, imagine that every activity that's taking place in this entire ecosystem on a global scale, you are receiving income for it. Now, how is that possible? You're going to see in a minute. This is the ecosystem that we are going to be participating in. Now, we have a strong foundation. We've seen that. How sustainable, how reliable is this ecosystem that I could actually base building my financial future on? Not just because it's a strong foundation and it has a world class leadership, but how viable is it? Well, let's take a look at that before we move on. Our entire ecosystem is anchored to and driven by real world transactional demand. This is important. Why? Because we're the world's first blockchain DeFi infrastructure that's connecting digital currencies and the digital economy to the largest economic engines that powers global finance. Think about money. Think about your use. Think about commerce. Think about money across the world. How does money move? How does money circulate across the world? The first thing is payment systems. If you're not buying every day, there's transactions. People are buying, people are paying for stuff all over the world. Over $300 trillion in payment transactions using debit and credit cards. That's one way that money circulates across the globe. We have a global payment system with over 100 million active merchants in over 150 countries that's using our Miracle Pay system. What else? Banking access. Everyone needs to have banking access to be able to operate and move money across borders, to have a debit card or credit card, to be able to access funds, to be able to move within the financial arena, you need to have banking access. Our Miracle Neo, it links crypto and traditional banking into one system where you have a fully functional IBAN account, where you have crypto debit and credit cards and financial tools like regular banking. These are anchors that's bridging digital and traditional finance into a seamless operable system. This is what's given us global stability and strong economic growth. Then we have tokenization. Tokenization is perhaps the biggest driver powering global finance today. It's a relatively new concept, and the loudest voices and the most authoritative voices in the industry is saying in the next 3 to 5 years, every asset on all financial markets is going to be tokenized. If you're not familiar with this, look it up. You'll see, well, the world has already started. People are tokenizing real estate and they're tokenizing. This is where real world assets of value are being put into digital tokens on a blockchain. And it enables fractional ownership, open participation, and value exchange across the globe. This is something that is going to redefine the entire world of finance. And we have the best tokenizing platform that there is in the industry today. Finally, credit scoring. These are things that are anchoring traditional finance and digital finance into one. We are bridging the two, and we're the only blockchain infrastructure that's actually doing this, and we have the technology and the model for it. Credit scoring is a big deal. If you live in a modern environment, a modern society, you are being scored whether you know it or not. Just let the time come where you have to go and borrow money from an institution. They're going to look to see what your credit score is. What many people are not aware of is that trillions of dollars being spent every year in any economy, 70% of it is borrowed income. Based on your score, will determine how well you can participate and the scale at which you can participate in any modern economy. Our score ID adds for the first time creating a universal credit scoring system, bridging traditional financial data with on-chain and blockchain crypto financial data. The first universal credit data system of its type, and it's attracting a lot of attention because guess where institutions are going to come to look for this data now, because this is not data that pertains to your country or your state. This is a credit scoring system that now has global application. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are anchored in and driven by four of the largest economic engines that drives global finance. This is where our growth and global stability that we can rely on, that we can actually build. Now, all of this is built on and it runs on our own blockchain, which is called Miracle Chain. That's important because there's thousands of businesses that run on chain, but they're third-party chain. But because we are unique and we have our own switch and infrastructure, it was important that we build our own blockchain. It was a time when we ran on the Avalanche chain, but in November last year, we migrated to our own Miracle Chain, which is an AI-enhanced layer 2 blockchain network. Take a listen on this short video about our blockchain.
Welcome to the future of business. Miracle Chain, where blockchain meets automation. And AI transforms how companies grow. Imagine onboarding customers with a tap, paying teams worldwide in seconds, and launching token ecosystems without writing a single line of code. With Iterato, your sales force becomes unstoppable. AI handles the follow-up, while gamification drives viral growth. Need to launch your own token? Miracle Launchpad and DEX give you everything: pre-sales, vesting, swaps, and full control. The Miracle Wallet simplifies finance. No seed phrases, just seamless access to crypto. Commissions and payments, secure, compliant, and easy to white label. And at the core, Miracle Chain. A private layer 2, built for scale, compliance, and automated global payouts. Whether you're selling online or in-store, Miracle Pay bridges fiat and crypto so you can do business anytime, anywhere. Miracle Chain. Powering the digital economy, one smart system at a time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so far you've seen how it's possible to design your own financial future because of a new way of participating into new economic model. You've seen why that model works because of these five laws. You've have revealed what makes it all possible, which is the company that has brought this technology to the world. You've seen that it is credible, it is trustworthy. You see that it is built on a strong foundation. Now, this whole ecosystem, what connects it all and makes it work is this blockchain platform. Here's what I want you to see here. The blockchain infrastructure is open to community ownership. Now you could begin to start connecting the dots. Now you could begin to see how it's possible that you can earn passive income all across the ecosystem by owning the very infrastructure that connects the entire ecosystem and makes it work. Did you get that? So let's now look at one of our systems, the Miracle Pay system. And we're going to connect this as a system as it pertains to our ownership and how we can work our way in. Miracle Pay is a revolutionary payment gateway that is seamlessly integrating both traditional financial systems and the digital crypto worlds. It supports over 200 types of cryptocurrencies. How does that work? It means that from your digital wallet on your phone or with a crypto-enabled debit card, which is a MasterCard, you can tap your card, swipe your card or your phone at any point of sale terminal where our Miracle Pay software is integrated, which is all over the world, as you're going to get to see, and it instantly converts your cryptocurrency into fiat currency. What am I saying? Now that the world is evolving into this new form of payment and systems and money, people that hold cryptocurrencies all over the world, which is trillions of dollars in cryptocurrency, that did not have easy, seamless access to using it freely as regular tender, they now can tap their phone, swipe a crypto card, and whatever crypto they have is seamlessly converted into the currency of that country. Take a listen of how this pertains to you and I.
You've probably heard the saying, if only I were early. Early to Bitcoin, early to Amazon, early to Tesla. Well, here it is again. But this time, it's not about hype. It's about owning the rails of a new financial system. Introducing CPU nodes, digital assets that earn daily from real crypto transactions happening worldwide. Every time someone pays with crypto, in-store or online, a small fee powers the network. And if you own a node, you get paid. These nodes are already paying every single day in a digital currency undervalued today, but set to explode in the months ahead. We've secured contracts with 4 global terminal providers, giving us access to over 100 million active merchants. And we're also integrated with major online retailers, processing billions each month. When even a small percentage of that volume transacts in crypto, node rewards skyrocket. The system is active. Payouts have begun. We're funding our aggressive expansion, not with Wall Street, but with everyday people like you. Together, we're decentralizing wealth by owning the new infrastructure of money. Timing is everything. Own a node now and earn every day for life.
So, what is a node? You see that it is CPU software, it is technology, and How does that pertain to us? Well, this is how it works. Our global blockchain infrastructure, our network, is built on CPU nodes. And these nodes validate, record, and secure transactions across the whole network. This is not unique to our miracle chain. This is blockchains, many, many blockchains that's out there. They're built on CPU nodes. Even Visa or MasterCard, if you do a transaction with them, they have CPU nodes that validate the transactions in their data centers. But the difference is that all the income goes to one central place. Now, ownership of CPU nodes means that we own digital real estate of the blockchain infrastructure that powers the global network. So I want to begin to put that together. The blockchain network is what powers the entire chain and all the financial services that we offer globally. But that blockchain network is powered by CPU nodes, which is owned by hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. This is what makes blockchain secure, and this is what makes blockchain transparent. And this is why financial institutions all over the world are now migrating to blockchain technology. Now, what does this mean for us in terms of securing our financial future? I want to just play this short by this gentleman. His name is Billy Warmack. He's not part of our ecosystem, but he says something that pertains equally to our ecosystem as it does to other blockchains as well. And so I just want you to take a listen.
Did make millions of dollars in crypto, but I don't trade crypto and I don't buy crypto. I make it. So
He doesn't buy or trade crypto, he makes it. That's important
I
to
started
know.
making Bitcoin at $220. That in itself is crazy. So we started mining Bitcoin. We were making a lot of money. We were like, man, if Bitcoin ever gets to $10,000, we're going to be rich. This guy that was mentoring me, he was worth $100 million. I became one of his top guys. And at that time, I didn't know anybody worth that kind of money. It just sounds preposterous to the average person. For the next 7 years, I learned software instead of hardware mining. So when you mine Bitcoin, you have a physical piece of machine. You plug it into the network. It confirms transactions. You make Bitcoin. On the platform that we launched, which was a company called Gala Games, we worked with Snoop, the death row chain that Snoop gave me, kind of crazy. And instead of hardware, we had software. So these software nodes will confirm transactions on the blockchain. Every time you buy something on that blockchain, sell something, move some money back and forth, there's a fee. That fee goes up in the cloud and it's split evenly between the node owners. So that very first blockchain that we launched, I'm going to put 15,000 in. And for 2.5 years, those nodes just confirmed transactions. I had about 17 million tokens in my wallet. I watched it go from less than a penny to 5 cents, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 84 cents in a matter of like 5 months. So I went from $11,000 in software nodes to having over 11.4 million liquid currency.
Okay, so his nodes, if you got what he's saying, his nodes were producing his tokens, which he accumulated 11 million, 17 million tokens over a period of 2.5 years. Then when the price of the tokens went up, it translated into that. Every blockchain has its native token. Ours is called the Phoenix token. Now, I want you to put this together with those of you who are familiar with the blockchain space. You would know what I'm saying. Those of you who are not, and you're new to this space, then it is something to take note of, that our Phoenix token is a utility token that is uniquely positioned to become one of the most utility dense tokens ever created in the crypto world. Why am I saying that? Think of all the cryptocurrencies that are out there right now. None of them have the utility density or the use case density that our Phoenix token has. What I just told you, we have a global infrastructure of banking services. We are anchored in four of the world's largest economic engines that drives global finance. We are bridging digital and traditional finance in ways that no other blockchain infrastructure is doing. And this Phoenix token is required for every transaction across the chain and across every real world interaction transaction. There is no token that has come to the market ever before in the crypto space that has this density of utility. what do you think will happen to that? So one of the assets that can now give you ownership and participation into this economy is the Miracle Pay node. This is connected to our Miracle Pay payment systems. Now, this is a better node even than what Billy was talking about. And I'm going to give you two aspects of it: the early ownership advantage and the daily earnings that come from it. The only early ownership advantage has to do with the tokens that the node is producing. The tokens that the node is producing is 80 Phoenix token a day. Let me just get my calculator here just to do some figures. 80 Phoenix token a day multiplied by 365 is 29,200 tokens a year. Now, the value of any cryptocurrency or any currency for that matter, it grows according to its demand. The demand for the Phoenix token is rapidly growing. Our payment system was just launched in February this year and is going through its adoption phase, and it's happening faster than the company even anticipated. When Phoenix went onto the exchanges in late last year, by January of this year, it had increased 700 to 800% in its value. Now, I want you to think about you are building today so you can prosper tomorrow. That's the first aspect of it. So there's a building phase of 24 to 36 months. This is not recommended by the company. This is just what I'm saying to you, what we suggest and what me personally, what I'm doing. Building phase of 24 to 36 months where you accumulate your Phoenix tokens. The Phoenix token right now is just a fraction of a penny. It is going to continue to increase as the system adopts. Now, let me just say that over a 3-year period, I'm going to multiply 29,200 by 3. Let's say it's 87,600. Let's just say that in 3 years, it only reached $1 in its value, which is ridiculously conservative. That would still be equivalent to $87,000 that you would have accumulated in 3 years. What if, even still remaining conservative, it were to reach $10? That's almost $1 million that you would have accumulated in your tokens over that period of time. Now, we can play with that, all kinds of speculation, but let me just put it to you this way. If you were to think of a very popular cryptocurrency token like Sol or Solana, which was launched in 2020. By 2024, it was like $130 per token, and it has no real world transactional application at all. Yet it would reach a value like that just through traded on the open markets and the exchanges, just through speculation. Ours will be traded on the markets with speculation as well, but we have real world transactional demand. So that's just for food for thought. That's the building and adoption phase. Second to that is the passive income, where you're earning from every transaction that takes place between over 100 million merchants in 150 countries, where our payment system is integrated into their terminals, and people who pay with cryptocurrencies. I'm going to also do a conservative example. And I'm going to take 5% of 100 million merchants, which is 5 million merchants. And I'm going to say that each merchant is going to do 300% daily in crypto transactions. And that would account for less than 1% of what those 4 global terminal merchants do right now. So that's pretty conservative. Miracle Pay transaction fee is 2%. So 2% of that 1.5 billion is 30 million a day. The nodes earn between 10 to 30% of that transaction fee. I am going to stick with the lowest and say 10% of 30 million, which is 3 million, That's what we're going to get. 20% of that fee goes towards a network community. I highlight this for a very special reason, which I'll get to in a minute. So 20% of 3 million is 600,000. And when we take it away, we end up with 2,400,000. That 2.4 million is divided among 210,000 nodes. There only will ever be 210 of this particular type of node, which is still available today. I can't tell you how much of that is still available after a year and 4 months of it being sold on the market. That means that you're looking at $300 plus a month, $4,000 a year in passive income that will come through your node. Now, this is being paid in perpetuity, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This never stops paying, and your node never stops producing the token. As the token rises in value, things can change. And what if in this building phase, this went to 10 or 15 or 20%? You're talking about $1,000, $1,500 extra a month. You're talking about 20,000 passive income extra a month. Or what if it is like Billy, you had several nodes? So you can look at it from different scenarios, but the point is this: because you own infrastructure that's running a global ecosystem, you are receiving passive income in perpetuity every day for as long as you live. And this is willable, it's saleable, and it's transferable. Finally, I want to just talk about our tokenizing platform, which is how real world assets are brought onto the blockchain as digital tokens and with proof of ownership on the blockchain. This is where tangible assets of all types are converted into digital forms. This is what gives global access, fractional ownership to high value assets to you and I and anyone else anywhere in the world. And so, how it simply works is, consider, if you look at this, say this was a building that was worth $1 million that was being sold. The person can turn it into 1 million digital tokens on a blockchain, which means each token is $1. You may not be able to purchase that building, but you can say, you know what, I have $500, I have $1,000. I could purchase 500 tokens or 1,000 tokens. And that's now a fractional ownership, legally owned, of this property. What can you do with it? You can sell it, you can trade it, you can use it as collateral, you can liquidate it, but it is legally a fraction of a building. And so this building can now be owned by thousands of people that have just fractions ownership of it. This is happening with real assets all over the world today. This is how valuable assets are now accessible to everyday people. We also have a node for that. It's called a Project X node, and this one has more details in it, which I won't get into, but you're producing 200 Phoenix tokens a day. Think about that. How many tokens it is in a month versus the value of those tokens. And among other aspects of it, you get to receive a 6% dividend on all tokenized projects for life. And right now, we are tokenizing some of the largest projects in the world, in Africa, in Saudi Arabia, and in Romania. And so that's all out there in the public domain. You can get that information. So let me just conclude this section by showing a 2-minute clip of this interview of our chairman at the NASDAQ, and then I'll bring it in for a close. But tokenization, this is what makes ownership of real world high value assets available to everyday people.
I'm with the CEO of Wall Street Capital, Doug Anderson. Doug, welcome back. And I understand you have some news to break.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Wall Street Capital Partners has been around almost 30 years now. And I can't think of a better place and a better person to announce this news to. It's very exciting, a first in our history. But we have opened a new subsidiary, Wall Street Capital Partners Asset Strategies. And this new subsidiary is majority owned by Metaterra Holdings, which is associated with another company, which we know is Miracle Pay and Miracle Chain. Now, what does Miracle Pay, what are they known for? As I've explained before on this program, they are experts and leaders at payment systems for crypto. So using your wallet, paying with your phone, transactionally from POS machines and over the internet. So they're the leaders in that. There's another thing they do. They do tokenization. So they're experts at that. And as you know, we're now working, focused on tokenizing one of the largest real-world assets in the world, which is an airport in Bucharest. We're working hard at that. But there's another one that may even eclipse that, which is we're going to announce right now. It's very exciting. It's called a Tinu token, after the founder of a very strong, probably one of the fastest growing companies in Africa that's very successful, an oil and gas company called Owando. And its founder and chairman and group leader is Wale Tinubu. So Tinubu token. And what this token represents is an African fund. We're tokenizing an African fund that is going to be backed by very substantial real world assets out of Africa. And the first that is going to be inside that fund is we're going to start with $200 million worth of oil reserves from Owando. Mr. Tinubu has decided to move forward on putting those assets into this fund, and it'll be followed by about $1 billion in oil reserves. Now, this will be the first token of its kind by oil reserves, so it's going to make a first there.
I just wanted to highlight that this is not tokenizing real world assets in the traditional sense. It is a fund, which in essence is a cryptocurrency, a stable coin that is going to be backed by real world assets. The first of its kind that's ever going to be produced, and our company is bringing that to the world. Now, that is significant because if you understand the African nation and the issues that they've had with their currencies, their levels of inflation, and what our company brings to the African nation along with this fund, this is something that the world is going to hear about because of what it's going to represent. I wanted you to hear that the Tinubu token, and it being the first of its kind in the crypto world, it is going to invite, in fact, we've already heard from our executive brand that the attention is already drawing from other companies. When you consider that companies like Amazon are exploring, and even Walmart, they're exploring their own cryptocurrencies. And why would companies do that? Because it will save them billions of dollars in transaction fees a year, among other benefits of having their own token. And our company is leading the way in that. So there are several different node assets that you can look at, you can consider, but this is owning infrastructure of the entire ecosystem. We can own from different aspects of it. We can be involved in various systems. We can access different tools. There is way more to it than I'm able to tell you when you consider the global nature of our company. But I think you've gotten enough to understand that we can participate within the economy today from a standpoint of ownership and owning the value of our own income, where we can begin to shape our financial future. The Project X node, which I mentioned before, is usually 16. It's currently at a reduced cost of 1,300. And the company has given some IPO special packages where you're combining several Miracle Pay and Project X nodes. You're getting 5 altogether, the Builders package and the Elite Infrastructure package. This Guardian node, which is really a very powerful node in terms of what it produces in earning, it is only available in the package, not on its own. But your host partner that would have invited you to be part of this information, they can tell you more and explain further about assets that we may have available. And so to conclude, I just want to bring us home with our Bellator Life Aladdin model, which is an AI leverage asset driven digital income network, which is why you were here. You are here to be invited to participate in an economic model, participate in an economy that is based on ownership. This is so critical because our participation in this system ensures that everyone succeeds. Now, the success of everyone contributes to the success of everyone else because value circulates. I'm not going to get into the details of how that works, but it's very amazing that value circulates throughout the system. So the more people that participate and are earning, the more value circulates, which means, and the more value that circulates, the more value is distributed. So we all earn collectively. It is a shared prosperity and collective growth that's happening the more we grow our economy. The company is doing it from their corporate end, and Bellator Life is doing it through individual participation, where we are inviting people to participate in an economy that is going to change their financial future. For the first time, financial security, financial freedom is not just a concept. In this company, it's actually a reality. Now, this is how we expand our economy, and it's not like your traditional network marketing model. It is no continuous selling in order to earn. It's only aligned participation. There is no ongoing recruiting to grow your income. It's just shared access. And the more people that access the system through ownership and participation, the more there's growth of income for everybody. There is no monthly auto ship to qualify because you are a stakeholder in the system. There is no attrition for income dependency. I don't need to depend on people within the network in order to produce, in order that I can earn like in traditional networks, because it is just flow based growth within an ecosystem. And there is no annual contractual renewals because you own infrastructure. So you see, those of us who participate in the Aladdin model, where we help to expand the economy, we get to participate in 5 optional streams of digital income. Our income comes through owning the assets, participating in the systems, leveraging the tools that they bring as affordable to, that is afforded us from being owners in the system. We don't need to participate in this to earn. We can earn handsomely just because we own assets and own infrastructure. But for those of us who choose to expand the economy, we get, and where does the income come from? As I told you when I went through the numbers, 20% of node earnings, which is why whether the network produces or not, or sell or not, our earning, because our earning comes through 20% of what the nodes earn globally goes in to the community network. 50% of service fees go in to these and help us to earn 5 additional streams of income. It's a simple 5-tier compensation plan that's very, very lucrative. And anyone can access our system. Even if you didn't have the wherewithal to own an asset right up front, there is no cost to register through Bellator, have your own website and your own back office where you can learn about the values of this ecosystem and what it offers the world. And you can become a promoter. And there are people who have promoted, who've come in with a free account. They have learned it, they've promoted it with others, and other people, they bought their assets and participated in the economy. And once you have 4 new active partners, you get to earn an asset. And now you're on your way. So wherever it may fit you, this is accessible to anyone, anywhere in the world that has an internet. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I shared with you is not so much about joining a company, getting into it is about how to participate in the economy in a very different way, from a new perspective, from a new vantage point, from a place of autonomy and sovereignty over your finances, something that the average person, we have not had an opportunity like this before. So with that, I want to say thank you for taking the time for being here. Ownership changes the way value flows to us, and we are shifting from the centralized way that limits us of earning to a community ownership-based economy where value circulates and where there is shared prosperity. So I want to invite you to join this revolution that's reshaping the world of finance, where ownership, technology, and people come together for prosperity. Speak to the referring partner that invited you to the call, and they will tell you how you can move forward and begin to access and enter this new economy through Bellator Life, which is the gateway to the miracle ecosystem. With that, I'm going to just leave you with our Metaterra anthem and say thank you once again. Enjoy your weekend. God bless all of you. Have a good night.
Building a world on the chain, turning the future from cold to flame. Trust in the block, trust in the plan. Mediterra, here we stand. Mediterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Mediterra, we believe we win. Every transaction, every line, carving a path through space and time. From local dreams to global skies, Mediterra, we realize. Mediterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Mediterra. light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Mediterra, we believe we will light the way. New tomorrow starts today. We believe we will light the way. Our tomorrow starts today. Oh, Mediterra, we believe we